before I jump into the review, I should let you all know that I am of sound mind and body. I am not on any mind-altering drugs, and the things that I am going to describe to you actually happened. I can't make this up. You couldn't pay me to make something like this up. The Munsters' Scary Little Christmas. This is based on the legendary TV sitcom The Munsters, and turns out in the 80s and 90s, The Munsters actually saw quite a bit of success in TV syndication. It was successfully rebooted in a show called The Munsters Today. There was another reboot called Here Come the Munsters, which was actually pretty well received. And The Munsters Scary Little Christmas is the sort of kind of sequel to the TV movie Here Come the Munsters. Everybody got that? I hope so, because I'm not going through that again. This movie is so bat crap insane. I honestly would put it on the same level as Babes in Toyland levels of insane. I mean, take away for a minute the premise of the Munsters being Frankenstein's monster, the bride of Frankenstein, basically living in the world of Leave It to Beaver. Like, that's already crazy in itself. But then you set it in the world in which they're trying to give their son a proper Christmas. And that's when I had to start like checking to see if I was okay. Like I need to be locked up in Bel Rev next to Lex Luthor or something like that. Some of the things that happen in this movie are just so out there. I can't describe them all, so I'm just going to describe a couple of them. In a montage in which I assume Herman Munster was trying to get money so that he could for pay for his son's Christmas. I'm not entirely sure. But among some of the jobs that he gets, he becomes a model, like one of those models where people who paint nude paintings, he wears a robe, he takes it off, he exposes himself, and everybody runs out of the room screaming. That is a thing that actually happens in this movie. The entire time I was thinking to myself, okay, so if the Frankenstein monster is a monster made up of the body parts of other individuals, you know what? No, 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 I'm not doing it. I'm not going down that road. No, 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 no. My mind will not go there. It will not. But it makes you think, doesn't it? And then just the fact that it just keeps going, and probably the most insane like stretch of events in the movie is where Santa Claus gets transported to the Munsters' home via a wish, I think. I think the grandfather had something to do with it. But anyway, Santa gets transported into the Munsters' home. Two of his elves don't want to work on Christmas Eve. Figure it out for yourself. And they basically bewitch Santa Claus to turn Santa Claus into a fruitcake. Then, 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 then Mrs. Munster ends up giving the fruitcake away to some neighbors. The fruitcake looks like this. And then the neighbor, or one of the neighbors, grabs the fruitcake and I assume tries to drown the fruitcake in a thing of eggnog. I don't know what to say anymore. I feel like I just don't know. These movies are not normal. The movies I'm reviewing this month are not normal. I feel like I'm being punished for something. I, I guess one more thing to note is that one of the screenwriters for this movie was a gentleman named Ed Ferrara, who may not mean much to you, but as a wrestling fan, Ed Ferrara is pretty much just a horrible human being who did a really bad impression of pro wrestling announcer Jim Ross and basically made fun of the fact that the man being Jim Ross, suffered from 2 bouts of Bell's palsy. Did an impression of him on national television where he just contorted his face and he spoke like this. It was gross. And unless you actually saw it, I couldn't convey it. Just know that it was in bad taste, and Ed Ferrara is just a terrible human being for even thinking of it. Just skip this movie. It's too insane to live.